Welcome to episode 179 of We Have Issues. I'm Anthony.
And I am Stevie Wildcard.
And every week, Steve Wildcard and I get together and we do our best to... Steven, you know what? Normally we talk about like our issues and what we do and all that stuff. I learned about cassowaries this week and it blows my freaking mind, dude. Do you know about cassowaries? Like
the little brother of the ostrich?
Okay, now you say little
or
brother.
Sister.
And yeah, the little sibling of the ostrich, like yes. But only slightly, and they look like dinosaurs, and they have murdered two people, and it's very interesting. Like what I find a lot very funny. If you don't know what a cassowary is, go look it up. It's
Australia lost a war to them, right?
No, I think that was the emu.
That is the emu. You're right. Another bird that's powerful and
another
on two
powerful
legs.
bird. Why? Okay, so I have so many questions about birds. I like just fascinated. Every time I learn about one of these birds, I'm just like, how is this a thing? But more so, Stephen, every time I learn about a new bird, I think, how did Alfred Hitchcock get it so wrong? Like, how is he like, oh, you know what's probably going to be like terrifying? Little blackbirds. Like, that's not the thing. Like, if I would be, I think, like, can you imagine, Stephen? Can you imagine just the streets overrun by cassowaries, by little, I mean, they're freaking raptors. They have crests. If you don't know what they, I'll post a picture. Sorry.
They're modern day velociraptors or Colorado raptors or whatever the bigger raptor is that Steven Spielberg.
They have deadly mohawks. Okay, so I was looking it up.
Funny enough, though, Alfred Hitchcock gets it wrong. Dude, Where's My Car? Gets it right. They put ostriches in their movie. They knew which bird was scary.
Oh yeah, ostriches are terrifying. So here, okay. So I was learning about cassowaries, and I was like, ooh, these birds are scary. Like they attack people sometimes. So I was like, how many deaths? Like how many times have they like like taken a life? And I was like, it has to be a bunch, right? It's not. It's only two, which I think is kind of funny. Like it's really interesting. It's like there are only two ever. Like that we know.
Cassowaries haven't killed a lot, but the two that have slash at you with this a 6-inch.
Well,
calm down, Dr. Alan Grant.
What's crazy is both cases were kicks. Like when I imagine a bird, I do not imagine being kicked to death, Stephen.
Oh my god!
Like, can you imagine?
Worst way? Well, there's definitely worse ways to go, but it's still a pretty bad way to go.
Yes. Like, how'd you go, Dragon? How'd you go? Kicked by a bird? Ooh, yeah. Ooh, rough. That's gonna go on your family crest forever, buddy. But yeah, dude, I was learning about cassowaries because life's been just kind of rough lately, Stephen. Just kind of rough. We were dealing with sicknesses and like all this stuff, and like honestly, I've been kind of spiraling that quicksand a little bit. How'd you do this week? How's everything?
And I'm right there with you, dude. Like I've been in the quicksand too.
Dude,
your hair looks good. Did you cut it recently?
Yeah, I cut it today, actually.
You did a good job like fading the sides.
Thank you. That's actually why I cut it, because like I was at work and I just caught a glimpse in the mirror and I was like, ooh, I messed up right here last time. I get like
it looks smooth with a V.
Yeah, like as you like, like as your hair starts to grow out, you like some parts get long, it gets longer. So some of it, I'm like, oh, that's obvious now. Like it was hiding before. Now it's good. Like it's like
now it's winning the race. It's like way ahead now.
Yeah, it's not cool. It's not cool. I don't appreciate it.
I need a haircut of some sort. Like I feel like my hair is just so flat lately, and my hair is like the source of my strength. And like at least when it comes to loving myself, my hair is like my main thing. And it's
also why I love you. So I mean, keep it going.
I mean, it's one reason why I can land a babe like Tina too. But yeah, I've just been feeling, I don't know. I think it's just that I just think I'm still in that rut. Like that, like I don't hate myself, but I'm like mid about myself right now.
Dude, I've been feeling the same way. And like I had a whole I literally like today I like on my paper wrote down a list of things that I did that I like I'm like, wow, look at all this crap I do all week. Like, look, I should be proud of this stuff, because I was just like, why am I feeling like this? Like, I feel like, it's not enough. Like, I feel like I don't know if I'm not doing enough, or it's just like the reward, like the juice isn't fresh, isn't sustaining me. And I need it. I need more juice, Steven. I don't know what it is, but like, I don't know. Like it sucks because like, I'm sure like you probably feel something similar. It's like I don't want to need any kind of like outside validation or anything, and like I don't know if it's just like success, like as far as like the like comics and stuff, or I don't know. It feels like it's a little bit of everything, and I think that like it's just like the general quicksand of it all. I think it's like like probably your job and like weighing on.
That's the thing, and nothing against like my job.
Yeah,
But it's a job, and
yeah,
like it's
definitely.
a physically demanding job. So like I'm just burned out on everything, but I know most of the burnout is coming from that physical demand.
Yeah,
And of course, being a father to 6 and an 8-year-old, I
yeah,
love them. But I mean, I mean, cooking dinner and picking them up and dropping them
dude.
off on top of your 8.5 hour workday whilst trying to juggle, you know, playing in the church, playing, like all these different, like, and like being a
Yeah.
good husband and being,
Oh,
it's just, it's so hard to juggle everything. And like
yeah,
I want to juggle the certain balls
yeah.
in a way to keep the things that truly matter. But like then it's like I'm not feeding myself enough.
Yes.
And it's like, where do I
Yeah.
sacrifice
Like
the,
where, yeah, what do you neglect in order to give
mm,
extra attention to a specific thing? And it, dude, I feel the same way. And like, and it sucks because like I know for me, it always turns out that like I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing okay. I just have to learn to forgive myself in those moments and just go through
mm,
it. It's like, yeah, and like because like what it's like to like be a parent, like I'm like if I'm focusing on like writing or something, if I'm like, oh, I have to post this podcast thing, or oh, I have to do this thing, I feel like, oh, I'm neglecting Atlas in that 20 minutes it'll take me to do that thing. But like that's not true. It's just the thing that I'm feeling and telling myself,
yeah,
because as long as like so long as I'm actually spending time with him deliberately and in those moments with him, I am there with him. That's what's really important, and I know
yeah,
that. I know that. But there are a lot of things that we know that we just like completely neglect to like remember in those moments when it's most important. Like I will 100% like I know that like here we have all these freaking comic books, we have like a movie and like upcoming, like we've written all these fun songs, or like recorded all these songs, we've done cool music videos, we have like legitimate fans that show up for us and like really supportive people. We have all of this awesome stuff, but like inside, I don't feel any of that on the day to day most of the time. Like most of the time, what I feel is like that pit that says like more. You need more. Like something there's not, and it's not like like I need praise. I just need like some sort of we need like for me, I feel like my job is evidence of permanence. Like, like the more I work in that job, the more I feel as if I'm not being successful in the other fields. Because if I have to be here, I'm not doing enough, or I'm not doing a good enough job on the other things.
that's what it feels like, right? Like,
Yeah.
and
So
like I'm at this point now where it's like I can't even psych myself up because, oh well, you can make more money, you can pursue more money with your job. And it's like that doesn't even get me excited though. Like I
right.
want to be able to draw and I want to be
Yeah.
able to
Dude.
play music and do
And
these things. And
yeah, dude. And it like and it's and hilariously, it's like the thing that's impossible to neglect is the thing that's forcing us to neglect the thing that we should be paying attention to. So it's just one of those,
absolutely.
and it's and I in a better world, in a safer world, with we could take that sort of leap of faith and just be like, all right, screw this job. I'm gonna do this thing and focus on it. I'm gonna believe in we're gonna believe in ourselves enough to do this thing permanently and make it our job for real. But like you need that, you need like a sincere safety net. You need certainty, which there is none, and there
Yeah.
never will be. So like the certainty that I think we're trying to build is just in the freaking just the slow collection of supplemental income, which the books will slowly provide more and more of.
Which they do,
You, you,
it's
it's fun.
just
Oh,
it's
good.
got to be enough at some point. And then it's like, or and then it makes me feel like, well, like what you're saying, like where you want to take, like, do you just take the leap? Do you just go
Yeah.
for it? Because I do feel like to some extent, like even if I push my hardest where I'm at currently, I will still be behind someone that has quit their job and pursued it for 50 hours a week, as opposed to
Right.
me trying to pursue it for,
That's that's
12 or
that's true, but
14.
you will be ahead of the Steven who isn't doing that thing.
Exactly. Yeah. You're right.
That's the thing,
I
uh
am I am slowly, because like there was like this like weird like mental hiatus where like after I drew page one, like I just like I think it was like right before I started working the overtime, and I just
Yeah.
checked out. The holidays were here, and I've been having a real hard time like gaining that momentum back. But I'm building it slowly, but I want it to be more aggressive now. I want that momentum to be full force now,
Yeah.
and like it's just not there, and I just don't know why it's not. Like it's
I know what you mean. It's dude, it's so frustrating in those moments because like we get we get all this energy from like the lack of fulfillment in those moments where like, oh, we need something, what do I have to do? And then you start like, I don't know, you get like this ambition that just like puffs up in you and all this energy, and it's like like you're shaking a soda, you're ready to like
mhm.
explode it, but it's like then you have the moments when there's actually time, but what you have to but then what happens is that soda had time to settle because it was exhausted by the day and the heat and the warmth
Yep.
of sitting at the
And
job
then
site
you
for
get
as long
home
as
and
it
you're
did.
just like, and you're just like,
It's flat. Like your soda is flat, and that's all it
because
is.
like I am absolutely passionate about Deathless. Like I
Yeah.
believe in the story. I love the story. I want to draw the characters. I care about the characters.
Mhm.
So there's not like this thing where I'm disconnecting from the art. Like I'm connected to the art.
Yeah.
It's just my energy isn't connected to
I know, dude.
doing it. And
Yeah,
so it's
and I we know that's going to happen. We go through these like these valley these these
lulls.
dips, these
It's
lulls,
maybe it's like
hills and valleys.
anticipatory, like, well, something traumatic hasn't happened because something usually when there's momentum, something bad is happening. So maybe it's like a get
Yeah.
ready for it, slow down moment. I don't know. But like I said, I am still making progress. Like I said, I did rough the entirety of page two, and I have been laying final like inks on it. I just need to like I feel like once I get that done, I'll be able to like push through and just start plugging away through three. Because like, dude, this issue's hilarious. Like Anthony's writing so good in it, and I'm so excited to draw a lot of these things. Like they're like definitely gonna be cool, like unique pages and stuff
Oh
like
yeah.
that. So like, I want to get to those pages, and I will. I just need to. I don't know. I need to figure out. I think I do like the thing is I have my most energy probably early. But
Yeah.
when I'm early in the morning, I'm like, oh well, just enjoy your morning, enjoy
Exactly.
the and then later you'll get to it. And then I'm like, no, I won't.
And
I
it
won't
doesn't.
myself, I won't get to it later. And like,
Dude,
no.
I okay,
You feel
okay,
like you're gonna have the same energy then than you are at 5 in the evening, and it's
for
just
sure.
not the case.
I mean, what if because okay, I feel part of this I think is my fault. I'm gonna say like part of this feels like my fault because like we started the podcast as like a means of keep ourselves accountable, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
what happened over time, I think, was like we started entertaining people with the like conversations and silliness and like being like had like we had segments and stuff, which I love and I want to keep doing. We're gonna of course
Mm-hmm.
do it, but like I feel like there's like the accountability loss that happens because like I don't know. Like I feel like we haven't been focusing on. It's just like the other, like we were talking about before. It's like we have to know what to focus on. Like we're
Mm-hmm.
so scattered and focused on a million
We're
things.
entertainment 720 right now. We have employees that are just getting paid way too much out of our budget.
Yeah, dude. We
I
just. I mean, that's kind of what's going on though. Is like I feel like we're focusing with the podcast more so on like silly conversations and like sharing like day to day, which is like that is a huge part of the show. But we're not remembering to be like, hey, so like, what are we doing to like actually work on this book? And it's kind of where
Mhm.
we kind of gloss over that. And dude, that's totally on me because I because like initially the podcast was supposed to be to keep us accountable so we can make the comic books, but then the podcast started becoming a little more successful, and I was like, wait, we can have, what if this is just a successful thing that helps us quit our jobs? Like that could be our thing, and then like we can make comic books. I was like, so if the podcast becomes entertaining enough and people find it like just fun enough to commit to once a week, that could be the thing that allows us to quit our jobs and do this thing and
Mhm.
like chase our dreams. And if that's the case, I need to make this thing as entertaining and fun as possible, the same way we initially we want to make the comic book as entertaining and fun as possible. But I think in trying to make it entertaining for everyone so people can subscribe and we find new people and they're engaged with like the silliness and stuff, in order to do that, I kind of neglected the comic book side of it. Because like for me, that felt like it was almost on autopilot for a while, where I was just like, oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, people who are like showing up for the comic book are going to get little snippets of that, and it's good. But like the other people aren't going to be bogged down by the comic book stuff if they're not interested. But the reality is this is a show about us making comic books. It's a show about us doing this thing. And yeah, we're going to be making movies. I do want to keep talking about that and stuff, but like it is important to
To
talk
focus on,
stuff and focus on the
I
comic
see
book.
what you're saying for sure.
And
I mean, to some extent, though, I did still feel responsible to usher it or like to like push on it. I think I don't know. I just got to figure out why I'm in the rut I'm in. I think it really, I don't think I'm alone
no,
in feeling this way. I think a lot of, especially people in our country, feel this way, right? I think a lot of people in the world feel this way right now. The world is a very, it's not in its best place. And I think a lot of that just carries over. And I don't really consider those emotions for myself like on the surface. Very seldom do I even think about those things, but they're probably having their own
of
toll
course they
on my
are. Yeah.
psyche.
Yeah,
I'm
of
not
course.
acknowledging it, but they
You have
they
these roots
certainly,
that are being
yeah.
like just damaged at the base. And you're
Mhm.
like, oh God, what was that? I'm feeling
What
stuff.
was that?
Why am
You
I
know, and but like I said, I am passionate about this. I do think that the one thing I've encountered with the double page size that I've been trying to do is I don't it's actually like kind of making it better, but I can't work in a lot of layers because of the
oh,
memory.
because of just
I
yeah.
can only work in like 5 layers at a time. So I'm like,
Yeah. I
so
mean,
it is making me condense the layers as I go, but I think I'm just gonna go back. The
I
next
think
page
you
is
should,
gonna go back to
I think
seven
you
by
should
ten and a
just go
half
back
because
because
I'm looking at issue two. I'm like, issue two looks fine. I mean, the
dude,
details fine. Like,
every issue, like every book we've had has looked beautiful. And there's
yeah,
I understand what you're saying. Like I know you probably would be able to get little details and stuff, but like I don't think you need them. I think like like your pages are always dynamic
and
enough.
that's why I've been looking at like some
And
like
it's
even Marvel art and stuff. I'm like,
oh God,
man, they do a really like. I look at like comic art and I'm like, I'm so focused on the things I need to include in a panel, and then I look and it's like, well, how they probably broke down this panel was oversized guy in the front
yep,
angled a certain way,
yep.
this guy angled this way, and then some blurry stuff to make it look like they're in a room. And like, I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, dude.
but like
And like
it's
and
like I can't unlock my
I
mind
was
to
gonna,
do
well,
that, you
okay,
know?
I'll tell you, that's also partially my fault because Steven, I know I am super guilty of having like filmmaker mind. Like I very
Uh-huh.
much, dude. Like I remember when we were working on City on Fire, like absentees and scavengers, where I was like, no, 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 no gradients. We need like detail. Like the background needs to be a picture of a background. Like we need a real background, and you're just like, yeah, bro, cool, 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 cool.
I'm gonna draw this forest 100
100
times.
times. And I'm just like, I'm sorry. No, I will say that me being a tyrannical monster did make some of the most beautiful, like it helped to facilitate some of the greatest work that you've ever worked on. So I'm just gonna take full credit.
Speaking of scavengers, by the way, because I had it taken so long for Eric to get his second. You remember how we missed the add-on thing for him?
Yeah, yeah.
I think I sent him the cover. I sent him the original cover art for Scavengers because I
Oh,
still have
cool.
those. That's
Yeah,
another thing, by the way, we can offer. By the way, if you guys want, like I still have the original artwork for Scavengers and Absentees, one
that's
all the pages, and that's when Stevie Wildcard used Bristol board and pencil. So
oh man, that so for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, one of our first ever attempts at making comic books was a book called Scavengers. It was like this post-apocalyptic story of like the sickness and flesh eating and giant monsters, and it was a lot of fun. And we worked really hard on it, and we like I thought it was gorgeous. It was some of Steven's best work. We didn't finish the comic, but what we did is compile it into a book we call the Ostrich Colony Scrapbook, along with another book called The Absentees that we did finish, or at least we finished penciling and lettering with typos and stuff. But it's they're available. You can check them out on our website at weaveissuespodcast.com. But yeah, dude, so this week I'm with you. It's been weird. I've been in a weird kind of mad place too. It's I don't know. I try to I don't know. Every once in a while, right? Every once in a while, I try to address it, figure out like what it is. If there's a particular thing that's getting to me, sometimes you like you said, it's just like the big everything of being a human right now. You know, it's like there's a lot going on in the world. Like it's just politically and socially, and you know, it's like God, it's all a bit frustrating, and it kind of weighs us down. And I'm like, when that happens, I'm like, what do I do? Do I focus on cassowaries? Do I focus like what do I? And
Show me them bird kicks, Google.
and like, but it's true. And like, what I try really hard in those moments to just be like, okay, focus on right now. Like, where are you? What's going on? What are you actually doing? Like, are you like, what are you looking at right now? You know, like, what do you like? What was something that was good today? You know, like, let's not completely focus on the negative everything. Um, dude, but I've been trying to do that, right? And this week, Stephen, I've done a lot. So before getting my kind of diatribe of stuff that I did, because I did a lot this week, I do want to hear like a little bit like what are you happy about this week, even if it's not comic related? Like what are some just a couple good things?
Got to spend lots of time with the kids and the wife this past week and weekend, which is always awesome. Been drawing when I can,
Yeah.
obviously, but also like I made an awesome dinner tonight after working,
What was it?
and I made homemade chicken parmesan, pounded out some chicken thighs. I know everyone likes to use chicken breasts, but I prefer chicken thighs, and they were fantastic.
Nice.
And I always I know I shouldn't, because I feel like, especially if we're both working, we should both, but like I do like when I can actually muster that energy after working all day outside and like come right home, and I'm like, okay, you got to capitalize on this energy. You're still
Yo,
moving. The moment you sit down, it's
yo,
over.
no, you're
You can't
totally
sit
right.
down.
It's so important to do that.
Yep,
It's like when I get home, I'm like, because I'm always hungry when I go home, but I'm like, oh, I should probably like clean the kitchen a little bit. I should probably do this a little bit because if I don't, it's not gonna
I'm
happen.
done. It's
I'm
it. The
done.
end of the night. Because
Sorry.
Tina already kicked ass all day. She already
Yeah.
took care of laundry. She already took care of kids. She already took care of, like,
Oh,
she's been busting her ass all day. So I had to like, I have to like, I gotta put my kick ass stuff in on this.
yeah,
So,
for sure.
but yeah, we kicked ass. We both kicked ass today and had an awesome dinner together. And then yeah, and now I'm here.
Dude, that's amazing. That's freaking great. I this week for those of you who don't know, Steve and I, like we said, working on comic books, we wanted to get our first issue Deathless on Amazon on Kindle, so people could read,
Mm-hmm.
you know, digital copy and post like you know whatever reviews and such that they want. Steven, I posted it and they rejected it. Not rejected, they blocked it and they said that it was a copyright issue. And I was like, I have a million hours of footage of us creating this whole freaking book. I have all of the evidence you could possibly need in the world. Like I like
Has
there's not
someone branched off the Adams family and made a Cousin It book that where he's fighting demon spirits or something? What's happening?
what's happening here. Yeah, dude. So like for a minute I was panicked. I was just like, did someone already like post our book on Amazon and now I have to like fight that? Like what is happening? No, it's just an Amazon thing, just a weird, like, stupid hiccup. And so I just had to like clarify some things, and it's up. I did it. I nailed it. So it's up, and we have our first review, which is pretty good and pretty awesome. And you know, it was really neat to read, just like someone's sincere review of our book. I will say I just disagree with their take on the comedy of the book. They said that it was just pretty funny, and I think it's the funniest book ever written. I'm not biased.
To be fair, they did double down and say like the jokes like creep up on you, and then you
I,
just find yourself busting out laughing,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
like that. No, I'm just messing with you.
yeah,
But like
you're just being heavy.
yeah, but no, it's so interesting to read those things because like I don't know. I don't know. Obviously everything's subjective, so like I don't expect everyone to like to enjoy our book at
Hmm.
all. You know, like I'd like to imagine that if people pick it up, they're gonna find something to enjoy in it. If they're so intrigued, like if they're already intrigued at all, hopefully when they crack the spine, they're going to continue to be interested in some way.
Hmm.
You know, but it's still kind of terrifying to think like, oh no, what if someone just hates it, like, but anyway, but it's really cool that people can do that now, and I'm glad that I freaking got that up there and I feel good about
That's
it.
so
um,
awesome.
Dude, I also Stephen, I wanted to do like like another pass at like the movie, you know, because we're working on a vampire breakup movie called Stakeout. If you haven't seen our live script read up, you could go check that out. It was a lot of fun. But Steven, I opened up my screenwriting software, and I just out of nowhere had like a flash of like what the intro should be for the movie. So I just like rewrote the whole beginning scene and just like added stuff and fixed it.
So
And
it's gonna be you and the main love interest on a balcony arguing,
yeah,
and it has nothing to do with the rest of the plot of the movie at
100%.
all. And a musket gets fired
Yeah.
off, and then
Yep.
you're just wondering how Kevin Smith ever thought this should be the intro
And then like
to a
you and
movie.
I go to the mall and we work it out, Steve. For those of you who don't know, there is a deleted scene in Mallrats in which that happens. Go check it out.
It was so jarring for me. Like I was like, this feels so weird. But anyways,
No, it's so weird. But dude, so like I did that, like I wrote that, and then I worked on. Okay, so this week we recorded 2 episodes of Critically Stupid.
that's
Because we,
freaking awesome.
yeah, well, we're starting a new campaign,
That's so great.
dude, it's
That's great news.
dude, it's really good news because like I'm really excited about it. And it's actually it's been a lot of fun so far, and it's the campaign with monsters like vampires and stuff. So like
Oh, really?
I'm like I am so interested. And
Oh, the wild card better make an appearance or two.
oh,
This
dude, if you don't like same card or same card, same character or different, like he has to have you back on because like this is a perfect.
We have to do a Frog Brothers thing if it does happen.
But yeah, dude. So it's been so much fun. I can't wait to do that. I hosted my movie night, which was a lot of fun. And Steven, I had a dream. I mean, I'm not going to go deep into this, but I had a weird dream. I was in a hotel by myself, and I was just watching TV, and a music video was on, and it was Dashboard Confessional playing a cover of the song "The Book of Love" by the Magnetic Fields. And dude, it was just like I just sat there in the dream and I watched the whole music video, and then I woke up. And
I can really hear Chris Carrabba nailing that song, by the way, though.
dude, I did a version of it as Chris Carava, and I was just like, ooh, I actually like I feel like if I worked on it, I could do it. I could do it. I think I could do it. But I was like, okay, I can't do that because people are gonna be like, oh yeah, and like I don't want to hear anyone's comments about it. So I just like did my own version of it. But I took like a few hours to do it, and I wrote a whole solo for it and like a whole string section for it and like all this stuff, and I think it sounds really good, and I'm like super
That's
excited.
awesome.
Yeah, dude. I like, of course I probably could have used that time to do other things, but it felt really good just to.
You gotta feed your heart every now and then. There's been a few times where I've just opened
Yeah.
up GarageBand and like started plugging along on. It's just
Dude, I miss like playing music, and we've been talking about that. We really need to do it. We need to just get together and play some freaking music because
there's no reason that you and I don't learn Travis and Claudio's parts and just play the twin guitar Coheed covers.
Yeah.
I don't know why we don't do it.
No, we need to do it, Steven. Okay, this is what you have to do. Like I'm gonna task you with this because I trust you. But like the songs that you think we should play together, just send me like a version of it that I could learn. You know what I mean? Like tabs or like tutorial, whatever it is. I'll figure it out. But like whatever my part is, I will freaking do it. But we need to do it because I miss it. I'm sure you do too, and I think it's good for us. But otherwise, Steven, most importantly, I started streaming on Twitch, and I started playing The Legend of Zelda.
So the original one, yes?
The original Legend of Zelda. Now, Steven, can you just tell me, like, for the audience, like, can you tell me what your experience is with the original Legend of Zelda? Like, do you have, like, any experience?
So my not unfortunate, my first experience with The Legend of Zelda, the franchise as a whole, was actually A Link to the Past Super Nintendo because of my age. Right. My mom and dad didn't. We had a regular Nintendo, is what we used to call it. I don't know. Everyone call it a regular Nintendo. Yep, we call it a regular Nintendo in my house. I don't know why, but my mom and dad weren't Zelda players. They were like Mario, Duck Hunt, things like that. So when I finally got my first own system was Super Nintendo when I was like 6 or something like that, and Legend of Zelda Link to the Past, and that was like the most mind-blowing experience of my life. That and Super Metroid and Mega Man X, those are my 3 favorite games of all time. Like that's just like
no, I like childhood. I would say I know Metroid, but like when I think of you, I definitely think of Mega Man. Like that's
Mega Man X is like my favorite game of all time. Yeah. But like, so my first experience with Zelda was the Super Nintendo one, which is a much kinder version of the one you're playing. It has the spirit of the original because it's a top-down view, but it's much more organized and things are visually easier to understand because it's on the Super Nintendo. Now I have gone back and played the original Zelda, and
Dude,
damn is that game unforgiving in comparison. Even though Link to the Past is somewhat a challenging game, it pales in comparison to the Octoroks of Legend of Zelda.
even it is a menace. Like, I don't understand. I almost want to do like a monster test Zelda reality edition because, like, what is happening in that world?
There's a Spider-Man. There's actually, do they have the little dog demon men that throw shit at you?
I mean,
Or
everything throws.
I think the first two Zeldas was mostly knights, right? There was like knights and stuff
Okay,
in the dungeons
so
and
I'll tell you,
bats.
dude, it's so like all over the place. On every single every single frame of the freaking map, there are these little cuberts that are made of spiky balls that
The
spit.
Octoroks.
Octorots, is that what they are?
Yeah.
Why are they called Octorots?
Octoroks. I don't. They're like octopus,
I got
and
it.
they
They
shoot little.
Yeah, they shoot the rocks, but they have no tentacles. They're just
Eventually, they evolve into a more.
so they're like a baby. They're like a baby. I'm killing babies.
I think it's in the original Legend of Zelda. It was just it was 8-bit, right? Or was it 8-bit? So I mean, there's only so much detail you can.
So there are those things. There are kaiju that pop out of the sea and like spit like laser balls at you.
Oh, so those are probably the Zora, right? Those like fish people.
Yeah, they look like fish people. Yes.
Yeah,
dude. Okay, but that's the thing. Like, see, like you're saying all these words, and like Sean also knows those words.
Yeah, you start to see all these words, and since I don't know what they mean, I'm gonna take them as disrespect.
I'm just gonna assume that you're insulting me, Steven. I don't appreciate cut your jib or whatever. No, I don't like your tone right now, and I'm gonna delete this. No, but dude, so Zelda, when you play it, gives you zero information. There's one tiny crawl that happens in the beginning. They're like, hey, there's someone named Zelda. There's something called the Triforce. You're Link, and good luck finding pieces of this triangle, baby. And they throw you into a world in which everything wants you dead. And I'm like, I can relate.
You are destined to die.
But you're destined to die. Steven, everything wants to kill you. And not only does everything want to kill you, it's trying really hard to kill you. Some of it is really hard to kill. And then, dude, even when you find, like, you'll find a little cave and there'll just be like an old lady in the cave. Sometimes it says nothing. There's just an old lady. And I'm like, am I supposed to, do I murder this old lady? And you can't murder her. You tried though. You tried to murder everyone because everyone's trying to murder you except for that old lady. And then you feel bad.
Oh man. Later on, like, I'm not sure if it's in that one, but it's definitely in Zelda 2 and sometimes in 3. Those old ladies, well, it's mostly in 2. Those old ladies turn into bats and then they like attack you, and it's like, you're not a person.
So, but that's okay. So then, like, I go to a different cave, and then like there's an old man, and then but it'll say something that's like a fortune cookie. It's like meet the old man by the grave, and I'm like, okay, yeah, man. Cool, bro. Like this.
Which grave? By the way, the grave looks like any other rock in the game, except there's a cross on the rock.
Dude, but I can't tell you how many times I yelled, what is that supposed to be? Because I don't know. And they don't tell you. They just show. It's just everything's trying to murder you at all times that you don't know what you're doing. You don't know where you're going. I feel like I'm like, you're stealing things. I don't know. Like, I assumed the world was taken over by this like evil force.
Ganondorf, probably.
Yeah, I imagine like Ganondorf like kind of like possessed the world with some sort of evil, you know, or like maybe breaking the Triforce created some sort of darkness in the realm or something. And that's why everything wants to attack anything that's not made of pure like evil, you know. Maybe but dude, it is a mess. And I'm like, there are mummies. I've met a centaur. It's crazy.
The mummies in the later games, like in Ocarina and stuff like that, like you can't even kill them. You just render them unconscious for like 5 seconds, which if you like have any sort of anxiety issue like me with video games, I don't like something not being dead permanently being in said room with me. I'm just like, one of the reasons though, like why, like, okay, like I gotta go back and replay Zelda 1 because that sounds freaking like it's so.
But I'll tell you, Steven, the first time I played, right, I died a million times, right? Like, just like
you super Meat Boy'd that bitch.
I super Meat Boy'd that. And I did because, like, you know, you process of elimination, you start going like, all right, I'm gonna keep going left. All right, I've gone left enough, and I keep dying. I'm gonna try to go up. died a bunch, I'm gonna go right. I died slightly less. I'm gonna go up. I died slightly less. I'm like, oh, this is where I'm supposed to go. It's like process of elimination. Like, you follow the trail of your death, And then like
Mm.
I found my first dungeon, and I was just like, oh, gasp. Like, and I didn't even know that's how the game worked. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't. I was just like, I'm walking around a map, and I'm just like, okay, now I found this place that looks different from the other places. So I went in, and I fought a dragon. I was like, this is super fulfilling because I just died a billion times. Like
And
I
now I'm fighting a boss. Like
and
this
now
is
I'm
a,
fighting.
you can tell it's a boss. You
You
can
can tell,
feel it. Like
dude.
this is a
Oh,
boss. You are the king of this castle, and I am slaying you and
dude.
taking your
Oh,
treasure.
it is. I can't tell you.
Does the original Zelda have that whole like function where you go into a dungeon, you beat the boss, and you get a special item from that dungeon that
Um,
furthers your equipment? Does the original one do that at all?
I'm trying to remember if that's where I got my bow. I might have gotten the bow from
Okay.
him.
That's how
From
like
the
pretty much
dragon.
like every Zelda ever works after. You get every dungeon is boss, new weapon.
Triforce
Yeah.
piece, and
Yeah, Triforce piece and a new weapon.
a new weapon. Yeah, it was probably my bow. That's probably what it was. But then Steven, because I was dying so much in the beginning, I just avoided enemies for so long. I was like, oh, they're just gonna keep respawning. Why am I bothering killing enemies? So I was just like running around trying to avoid them, right? But I wasn't collecting any money because of that. So then I was,
Mm.
and if you're not collecting the money, you can't get like the other cool accessories and stuff, you know?
And in the early Zeldas, you have to like you don't get bombs from somewhere. You have to buy them the first time, then you have bombs now, and you can bomb walls and things like
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah. And like I found a couple bombs, but like yeah, that's what happened. I ended up buying bombs.
mhm.
And then I met an old man and I couldn't kill him. So then I tried to bomb and he wouldn't succumb to the bombs either. And it was just like I'm learning, Steven, but it's been so much fun. So much like it's funny how like the difficulty level, like the weird scaling of like let's just murder Anthony over and over. Somehow it just makes it so much more fulfilling when I do succeed, more so than the more recent video games where it's just I feel like it's like a little bit easier in most cases. Of course there are exceptions like Dark
Video
Souls.
games are just very scripted now. Even the ones that aren't supposed to be scripted, everything is so scripted feeling. And obviously, that's funny to say because no enemy is more scripted than an NES enemy.
Of course.
But the chaos of the graphics and what you're engaging in and the lack of information.
Yes.
And see, I feel like newer games have so many visual cues now that games just naturally feel easier because you can actually understand what's happening.
Yes.
Those old games were able to hide behind the veil of chaos.
That's
They're
yeah, dude, for sure. And it's incredible because you're just like kind of stumbling around in the darkness, fighting whatever is attacking you as you're like making your way through the world, not knowing where you're going, but knowing what you want. And eventually you find it in this weird dark pit that you didn't know existed in the first place, but you ended up exactly where you needed to be with exactly what you needed to have. And if you're willing to put in the time, you freaking slay that dragon and get that Triforce and have the bow. And Steven, I feel like you and I are fighting those freaking Q-Berts right now. We're fighting those Octoroks and we're fighting those.
Octoberts is what we're gonna call
Yeah,
Octoberts. We're gonna call them Octoberts.
they're Octoberts. We're fighting those Octoberts and we're avoiding those fishmen. And you know what? We are collecting our little treasures when we can. And we're doing our best. And like, yeah, maybe we haven't. Well, I would say we slayed our first dragon. We got through that first dungeon,
we
but like
I would say I would even go with the whole Zelda timeline thing, and the first three links have successfully defeated Ganondorf, and now we're just on this fourth timeline that's a little trickier. It's like Breath of the Wild. Like
I was
we died. We
I was
died
gonna
100
say
years ago.
I was gonna say so my first attempt at playing Zelda, I went through, died a bunch, and I beat this dungeon. I was like, yeah, freaking did. This is what Zelda is. My second time, Steven. My second time. I can't tell you how many times I died, Steven. Steven, I died so many times, it's embarrassing. Like I think people were sticking around with the stream just to be like, he's gonna not survive this himself. Like, there's no way. This game is going to literally end him. Like, I was gonna get Freakazoid like troned into the game, and it's gonna just eat me because I died so many times. But like, that's what I was gonna say. It's similar to my second time because, dude, I did taste the dungeon of I tasted the next dungeon, but I felt the boss and I was like, oh god, there's a centaur and there's this. I can't. I'm not. And the thing is, I'm not necessarily leveled up enough because I wasn't focusing on taking care of the bosses that I faced along the way to get those treasures, so then I can have the accessories that I needed.
to
to fight that
defeat.
boss. And I think like similarly, yeah, dude, we just have to continue to focus on like the little things that are kind of eating away at us and give ourselves some freaking
And then we
grace.
can slay that damn centaur.
That's right. And then that's all. And I think like part of that is our own ambition, which like not that I want to kill our ambition, but just like keep it at bay for a moment when it's time to focus on other things, because like we can't let it uh define us with guilt, like we can't just like feel shame because we're spending time with our family, or shame because we're not getting certain things done. The truth is we've been freaking doing this for 20 years, and we're way more we've made way more progress recently than ever before. And yeah, I know we wanted to be exponential and keep
I
growing,
mean,
like
let's look at it through the positive lens, right? We have sold out of Play It Again and Deathless,
yeah.
where we've had to order more copies of Deathless, and Play It Again. I think we've already ordered a batch before, and that second run is
Yeah,
gone.
we did. We
So I
ordered.
mean, those are definitely victories. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, and what's funny? I feel like part of it is just kind of succumbing to the like the fatigue of a series, because we've never dealt with a series before. Like we've always had that like the energy of making the first issue of a thing, which is always the most exciting thing, right? Like that's like, oh my god, the birth of this thing, here it comes, it's our first baby, it's gonna be the best, it's gonna be my babe, my most beautiful little pride and joy. And then the second one comes around and you're like, we've done all this, like now I just have to deal with your poop, like I'm just kidding. Like we love all of our children equally. But no, but like I feel like that does that that does contribute to the overall meh of working on a thing like this. Is like we're on issue 3 now, and it does feel like it's more tedium to get through it, and like we're kind of in that dark night of the comic soul, like we're gonna make our way through the other side. Like as soon as I think issue 3 literally is like that belly of the beast where we're learning what's about to come, and like it's going to be I think once we get to the next issue, it's going to be way more exciting, because it's like here comes the end of this thing. We see the light at the end of this tunnel. Not to mention like collecting all of the books in one is going to be that. I think it's going to be the like huge dopamine lever that we've been needing to pull, is having a graphic novel. I think that's
Absolutely.
I think
Having
that's
the whole collection in one back hardback. Oh, we definitely have to do like something special for it.
Oh, it's gonna be, dude. I can't wait. I'm dying for it. I think it's going to be wonderful for like both of us, like spiritually. And
Mm.
I can't wait. I know it's like another thing on like another burner to have on and all that. So I've been trying not to focus too much on the podcast of it, but like I do think that when we start rehearsing the movie and stuff, it's going to feel more fun, and like we're gonna like kind of like
Oh, absolutely.
like I think that's going to happen, because I'm excited, because I'm personally getting really excited for the movie. I'm nervous about it, but I think it's going to be cool, and I can't wait. And I think that like once it starts feeling more and more real, I think that's going to be another like reinvigorating sort of thing for
For
us. But
sure.
like I'm trying like I'm hoping that you and I can both just kind of slog through this particular quicksand. It's just like
We will. I
we've
have
been
no
here
doubt we
before.
will. Yeah,
Um,
like I mean, I don't have that collapse like I
yeah,
don't think I can ever collapse like I have before, because I literally have 3 products that have finished.
yeah.
I have finished it, so I know what it looks like to finish this now. It's not like this uncharted territory, and I can like get paralyzed in fear of finishing something. Like I finished, so I know I can now.
Yes.
So
Yeah, this is just a different dungeon. The bosses are a level up, and we're still, we have to do some like Rocky montaging, like
we'll
punch those
get
cows
there.
or whatever we do. But we'll get there, dude. Speaking of that though, what are you gonna do this week?
I'm gonna push hard on Deathless this week. I want page 2 completed this week for my own brain, and then I want to start working on it or page 3. So
Heck yeah, dude. This week I'm going to actually do my last pass at the movie, because like what I did was I wanted to do a last pass, but I ended up just completely rewriting the intro, which I really like. But I'm going to do my last pass at that. And then I'm going to do my best to work through issue 4. Like I'm gonna like write as much as I can because I wrote a good chunk of it, but like I wanna try to I'm gonna get this
Issue
finished.
four's got it is gonna have some craziness in it.
Yeah,
So
dude. It's gonna be so much fun. I can't freaking wait. But that's what we're gonna do this week. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and sticking around. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Make sure you share our show with all of your friends. Steven, where can the people find you? I feel like we haven't been doing that enough.
oh yes, people, you can find me basically anywhere where it matters as Stevie Wildcard. I'm pretty sure it's the same at Instagram, Stevie Wildcard, or at Stevie Wildcard, and Twitter is at Stevie Wildcard. So
Awesome. Yeah. Everyone go follow Steven. He's the best there is. Tell him that his art is incredible. Go check out Deathless on Amazon or at wehaveissuespodcast.com. Hopefully you love it. Let everyone you know and you've ever met know that you love it. Like tell them to subscribe to our show. And just know that we love you and we're thankful for you. And we hope we'll see you next week. But anyway, I'm Anthony.
I am Stevie Wildcard.
This has been We Have Issues. See you next time.
Boom! Here comes the ready and not. Here comes the boys from the south. Sound? It's POD, right? It's POD.
Yeah, I remember that.
Click, click, boom is saliva, and I would never quote saliva.
Yeah. I don't even have saliva. That's how much I don't like that band.
When I first heard of the band Saliva, I dried my mouth out intentionally just so I wasn't.
I carry this rag for just such an occasion. If one drop of saliva touches my tongue,
I don't want anyone to think for a second.
Steven, speaking of that, so I had to take Atlas to the dentist this week, right? Like, which is another thing. I didn't even bring that up. It's like, oh, I have to deal with like absences and like going to the dentist. Ugh. Dude, I had to bring him to the dentist, and so everything goes perfectly, right? And I'm just like, yes, that's exactly what you want with your child at the dentist. Everything goes well. He gets his teeth cleaned. Everything's nice. And then the dentist is like, you know what? We'd like to put some like a coating on the back of his like his molars. He doesn't have any cavities, but there's something there that could eventually become something. So if we just put this coating on there, it won't happen. He'll be like perfectly great. And I was like, yeah, that sounds fine. So I asked, is there anything we should worry about? Is it like, what's the procedure like? And like the doctor's like, oh no, we just put a thing on there and it's fine. I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, let's do it then. Because like, as long as there's no discomfort, let's go. And she's like, yeah, no discomfort. It's perfectly fine. Up until that moment, it was a perfect day, right? Like literally Atlas is happy. Everyone's great. We're about to leave. I literally used the words, is there any discomfort? Just in case. And she's like, no. Dude,
Atlas looks at you.
Yeah,
there's a lot of discomfort. It's not just a little discomfort.
This whole like my whole life is discomfort now. Thank you, Dad. Dude, he puts this. They put this rubber piece like thing in his mouth. That's just like vacuuming all of the saliva out of his face, and they're like, no, it's not just like a little tube. It's a full-on mouthpiece dude, it's like this big, and they fold it over and they awkwardly shove it into his cheek. And
I imagine the singer of Saliva designed these things so he could become the Saliva. Like he's
just like an Osmosis Jones goo monster. Just like, yeah, I get like that's what he is, a giant blob, and it can't like that's what happened, dude.
Ted just looks at you and just goes click, click, boom. All right.
So cool. Dude, I thought Atlas was gonna go click click boom on my face, Steven, because like I thought he was gonna like take me out after that because he was not happy. He started crying. I was like, get it out of his mouth, and they were like, what? And like they took out. I was like, he's like choking, like not choking, but he's gagging enough to be so uncomfortable that he's like miserable right now, and he's literally crying. So I'm like sitting there comforting him, and I was like, is this something we have to do right now? And they were like, you could try to do it again in like a year or so, 6 months or a year. I was like, yeah, we'll do that. It's fine. But dude, what, like when things are really bad at the end of a meeting, or like it's like you have that like sandwich there. It's just like,
they did not finish that sandwich with a clean slice of bread.
They did not. It was like a beautiful slice of bread, and then when you flip over the sandwich, it's literally just like Ren and Stimpy mold. Like, Like there's a family of like just
We just scraped all the grease and packed it into like a square and just put it on
just
bag.
put it on that. That's your sandwich, and that's what he thinks dentist is like now. That's in his head.
Ruined
He's
it.
like, that's what a dentist is. They shove this terrible monstrosity in your
The
mouth.
dentist. Oh, you mean the place where Josie from the band Saliva sucks all the saliva out of children to power his money hungry schemes?
Yes, that would be the dentist. Yes.